Welcome to the Stronger with Age podcast. Because aging is just the beginning.
I like that.
And today,
Yeah.
we're diving deep into something that
Yeah.
I'm sure is super important to you all.
Oh, yeah.
And that is sleep.
It is fundamental.
And
yeah.
you've shared some really interesting stuff with us about how sleep changes as we get older.
Absolutely.
Common issues and strategies for better rest.
So let's unpack all this and
Yeah.
really highlight what's most important for you.
Yeah. You've given us some really interesting information to work with here.
Okay, so let's start with the why.
Yeah.
Why does aging seem to throw a wrench in our sleep?
Okay.
What's going on there?
Well, there are a few key players involved here. And one of the main ones is changes in your body's internal clock.
Okay.
Have you heard of the suprachiasmatic nucleus?
That's a mouthful.
It is. It's called the SCN for short,
Okay.
and it's located in the hypothalamus, part of your brain.
Okay.
And this little area, it controls your circadian rhythms. Our circadian rhythms, those are our 24-hour cycles.
Exactly. They dictate when you feel tired and alert. And as you age, the function of this SCN, it can kind of deteriorate.
So it's like the conductor of our sleep orchestra.
Yeah, like the conductor's losing the beat a little bit as you get older.
Losing their rhythm, I gotcha.
Yeah, exactly. And this deterioration, this can disrupt the precise timing of those circadian rhythms. And keep in mind, these rhythms, they don't just impact sleep. They also influence other daily cycles, like your body temperature and your hormone release.
So it's really a cascade of changes.
Exactly. Now, another biggie here is reduced light exposure. So the SCN, it receives vital information from your eyes, right? And light is a powerful cue for you to keep those circadian rhythms on track. But here's the thing. Research indicates that many older adults, they don't get enough daylight.
Really?
Yeah, they average only about an hour a day, just 1 hour.
Wow. That's a huge difference.
It is. It's like trying to run a sophisticated computer on a flickering battery.
Yeah.
You're not going to get the performance you need.
Yeah, that's a great analogy.
And this lack of light can be even more pronounced for folks in nursing homes or for individuals dealing with Alzheimer's.
It makes sense. Their mobility might be limited.
Exactly. And their environment might not be conducive to a lot of natural light.
Yeah. It's like trying to set a clock without knowing what time it is.
Exactly. Light provides that essential time cue. And then we can't forget about hormonal shifts, especially the decrease in melatonin production.
Oh, melatonin, the sleep hormone. We hear about this all the time.
Right, it's like that twilight switch in your body. It's produced in response to darkness, and it helps coordinate those circadian rhythms. But as you age, your body just doesn't make as much.
Okay.
And this can lead to further disruptions in your sleep patterns.
So like that twilight switch is dimming earlier, and the night signal isn't as strong.
Exactly. It affects both when you feel sleepy and how deeply you sleep.
Okay, so it's like a triple whammy then.
Right.
Our internal clock gets wonky, we're not getting enough of that light signal, and our sleep hormone levels take a dip. No wonder sleep can change so much.
It's a combination of factors, yeah.
So how do these changes actually show up in our sleep patterns? What might we start to notice?
Well, one common shift is what we call phase advance.
Phase advance.
Yeah. Basically, you might find yourself getting tired much earlier in the evening,
Okay.
like maybe wanting to go to bed between 7 and 9 p.m.
Oh, well, yeah.
and waking up super early, like between 3 and 5 a.m.
So our sleep window kind of shifts earlier in the day.
Exactly, you got it. And another frequent change is more frequent night wakings.
Ooh, tell me about it.
Right. So your sleep architecture, and by that I mean how your sleep cycles through different stages, from light sleep to deep sleep and REM sleep.
Right.
It changes as you get older. You tend to spend more time in those lighter stages and less time in those deep restorative stages.
Oh, so that's why we might not feel as rested.
Precisely. This makes you more susceptible to waking up during the night, and this is what we call fragmented sleep. So it's not just about the total hours of sleep you're getting, but also the quality and continuity of that sleep.
So even if you're in bed for a decent amount of time, it might not be as refreshing.
Exactly. And because your circadian rhythm regulation isn't as strong as it once was, you might also find that it takes you longer to adjust to changes in your sleep schedule.
Well, yeah.
Things like daylight saving time or jet lag.
Oh, don't even get me started on jet lag.
Right. The recovery period can feel so much longer now.
It's like my body clock has lost its flexibility or something.
It's a common experience as we age. And we also see an increase in daytime napping among older adults. Around 25% of older adults report napping compared to just 8% of younger adults.
I've been wondering about naps. They get a bad rap sometimes. Are they always a problem?
Not at all. Short naps, think 20 to 30 minutes, can actually be really beneficial. They can boost alertness and even improve cognitive function without disrupting your nighttime sleep. But longer naps, or naps later in the day, those can actually interfere with your ability to fall asleep at bedtime.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's all about timing, right?
Exactly. Find that sweet spot, short and early, to avoid messing with your nighttime sleep.
Now, something you highlighted in the material you share that I think is so important to mention. Older adults still generally need 7 to 9 hours of sleep, just like younger adults.
That's a common misconception. People think as they age, they need less sleep, and that's not necessarily true.
It's more about the difficulty achieving that good sleep.
Exactly. And the best indicator of whether you're getting enough sleep isn't just the number of hours. It's about how rested you feel during the day. If you're feeling alert and capable, that's a good sign you're getting enough.
I like that. It's about functionality.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've covered why sleep changes and how our patterns might shift as we age. Let's talk about those common sleep issues that can impact our quality of life.
Right. Let's delve into that. There are, unfortunately, quite a few sleep issues that can become more prevalent as we age. One big one is pain and discomfort. Things like arthritis, back pain, even nighttime heartburn. These can significantly interfere with your sleep.
I can only imagine if you're dealing with chronic pain, it's got to be so hard to relax.
It is. And it can become a vicious cycle. Less sleep can actually worsen the pain, making it even harder to sleep.
A real catch-22.
Absolutely. Another very common issue is nocturia. That's nighttime urination. This affects up to 80% of older adults due to changes in the urinary system and other factors. And those frequent trips to the bathroom, they can really disrupt sleep.
Yeah, I can see how that would fragment your sleep quite a bit, waking you up multiple times a night.
Exactly. And then there's insomnia, which is difficulty falling asleep, staying asleep, or waking up way too early. This is incredibly prevalent in older age and often stems from a combination of the factors we've already talked about.
Insomnia can be so frustrating, and it can really affect your daytime energy and mood, too.
Absolutely. And while you might think feeling tired during the day is just part of aging, excessive daytime drowsiness is actually not normal.
Really?
It can actually be a sign of underlying issues like sleep apnea, even cardiovascular problems. About 20% of older adults experience this, so it's important not to just brush off daytime sleepiness as inevitable.
Well, that's a good point. It could be a sign of something else going on.
Exactly. Sleep apnea is another big concern. This is where your breathing repeatedly stops and starts during sleep because your airway collapses. This leads to fragmented sleep and can even cause drops in your blood oxygen levels. Definitely something to discuss with a healthcare professional if you suspect it.
Yeah, it sounds pretty serious.
It can be, especially if it's left untreated. We also have things like restless legs syndrome, or RLS, and periodic limb movement disorder, or PLMD.
Those are a mouthful.
They are. RLS affects between 9 and 20% of older people and causes this irresistible urge to move your legs while you're resting or trying to sleep. And PLMD involves involuntary leg movements, most commonly in the feet. Both can significantly disrupt your sleep and your partner's sleep if you share a bed.
This sounds so uncomfortable.
They can be, making it very difficult to stay asleep. And lastly, we have REM sleep behavior disorder, or RBD. This mainly affects older individuals.
Okay.
Normally during dreams, your body's still, right? But with RBD, people actually act out their dreams, and sometimes quite violently.
Oh, wow. That sounds scary.
It can be, both for the person experiencing it and their partner. It definitely warrants medical attention. So as you can see, there's a whole range of sleep issues that become more common as we age.
And it sounds like it's really important for us to be aware of them.
It is.
But the good news is you've also shared some practical strategies that can really help enhance our sleep.
Exactly. There's a lot you can do.
So where do we even begin?
Well, establishing a consistent sleep schedule is key. Go to bed and wake up at the same time every day, even on weekends.
Okay, consistency is key.
It helps regulate your body's natural clock, so it knows when it's time to wind down and when it's time to wake up.
Yeah, like setting that internal alarm clock. What about our sleep environment? What can we do there?
That plays a huge role. You want your bedroom to be cool, dark, and quiet. Think like a cave.
Okay.
Maybe invest in some blackout curtains to block out any light.
Right.
Use earplugs or a white noise machine to minimize noise.
Yeah, if you live in a busy area, that can really make a difference.
Absolutely. And of course, make sure you have a comfortable mattress and pillows that provide good support.
I can't emphasize that enough.
Right. It's all about creating that sleep sanctuary.
Love that. A dedicated space for rest and rejuvenation.
Exactly. Now, what you do before bed is also important. Having a relaxing bedtime routine can work wonders.
Like a little ritual to signal to our bodies that it's time to wind down.
Exactly. Things like reading a physical book, taking a warm bath, listening to calming music.
And no screens
Uh,
before bed.
Right. The blue light emitted from screens can interfere with melatonin production, so it's best to avoid them for at least an hour before bedtime.
Makes sense. Those relaxing activities sound like a great way to transition from the busyness of the day into sleep mode.
They are. And you can also try incorporating some relaxation techniques into your routine. Things like progressive muscle relaxation, mindfulness meditation, or deep breathing exercises.
Okay, those all sound good.
They can help calm your mind and body, making it easier to fall asleep.
And of course, we have to talk about diet and certain substances because I know they can play a big role in our sleep.
They do. And as you age, it's even more important to be mindful of what and when you consume.
Absolutely. So what are some key things to keep in mind?
Well, limiting caffeine, especially in the afternoon and evening, is a good start.
Yeah, that afternoon coffee can sometimes come back to haunt you later at night.
It can. Alcohol can also disrupt your sleep later in the night, even though it might make you feel drowsy initially. A light snack before bed is fine if you're hungry, but avoid heavier, spicy meals close to bedtime. And try to minimize liquid intake in the hour or two before sleep to reduce those nighttime bathroom trips.
All good advice.
And cutting down on sugary foods can contribute to more stable sleep as well.
So it's all about making smart choices throughout the day to set ourselves up for better sleep later on.
Exactly.
We often hear that exercise is good for overall health, but what about sleep? How does that tie in?
Regular physical activity can actually significantly improve sleep quality, especially aerobic exercise like swimming, walking, dancing, cycling.
Oh, so good.
Yeah. Aim to exercise during the day and avoid intense workouts within 3 hours of bedtime. And even if you're feeling tired, staying active and socially engaged can help cue your body to be awake during the day and prepare you for better sleep at night.
That's interesting. So even when we're tired, pushing ourselves to be active a bit can actually help us sleep better.
It's counterintuitive, but yes, exerting energy during the day helps you rest better at night.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, what about managing stress? That's a big one for a lot of people.
Absolutely. Stress management is crucial for good sleep. Techniques like journaling, listening to calming music, or talking to a friend or therapist about your worries can be very helpful. And if you find yourself waking up during the night, try to focus on relaxation instead of forcing sleep.
Yeah, just let go of that pressure to fall asleep immediately.
Exactly. If you've been awake for more than 20 minutes, get out of bed and do a quiet, non-stimulating activity in dim light until you feel drowsy again.
Okay, so avoid tossing and turning and getting frustrated.
Right, because that can make it even harder to fall back asleep. Now, optimizing light exposure is another important strategy. We talked about the importance of light earlier.
Right, that whole circadian rhythm thing.
Exactly. Aim for at least 2 hours of sunlight during the day. Keep your shades open or consider a light therapy box, especially in the winter months. And in the evening, use low wattage bulbs and avoid those backlit devices for at least an hour before bed.
So mimicking those natural light cycles. Bright during the day, dim at night.
Exactly. It helps support your body's natural sleep-wake cycle.
And you mentioned naps earlier. Any final thoughts on how to nap wisely?
If you do nap, keep it short, ideally between 15 and 45 minutes, and aim for early afternoon.
Okay, short and sweet and not too late in the day. Got it. Now, what about safety considerations around sleep? That's something we haven't touched on yet.
That's a great point. As you get older, safety becomes even more important. Make sure you have a phone and a light within easy reach of your bed in case you need to get up during the night.
Good idea. To avoid any stumbles in the dark.
Exactly. And try to reduce hazards in the bedroom, things like rugs and cords that you could trip over. These practical steps can make a big difference in your safety and peace of mind.
Makes sense. Now, I know a lot of people are curious about supplements and medications for sleep. What's the general advice there?
Some people find modest benefits from certain supplements like valerian root, chamomile, passion flower, or low-dose melatonin. But it's always best to talk to your doctor before starting any new supplement, just to make sure it's safe for you and won't interact with any medications you're taking.
Good advice. What about over-the-counter or prescription sleep medications?
Those are generally best to avoid if possible.
Really?
Yeah, they can have some unwanted side effects like grogginess, confusion, increased risk of falls, and even the potential for dependence and cognitive impairment.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that.
And importantly, they don't address the underlying causes of insomnia.
That's a good point.
There's a really effective non-drug treatment called cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, or CBTI. It's considered a gold standard treatment for insomnia and has a very high success rate.
Oh, that's great to know.
It is. It helps you identify and change the thoughts and behaviors that are contributing to your sleep problems. And finally, and this is really crucial, make sure you address any underlying health conditions that might be affecting your sleep. Work with your doctor to manage things like pain, urinary frequency, depression, or any other conditions that could be interfering with your sleep.
And getting to the root of the problem.
Exactly. And also review your medications with your doctor because some can have side effects that disrupt sleep. So it's really about taking a holistic approach to sleep. Lifestyle changes, optimizing your environment, and addressing any underlying health issues.
So it's not just one thing, it's a combination of factors.
Exactly.
So what does all this mean for you listening? It's clear that sleep changes as we age, but that doesn't mean you have to accept poor sleep as your new normal. By understanding these changes and trying out some of the strategies we've discussed, you can actively work towards better, more restorative sleep.
Absolutely. And remember, prioritizing sleep isn't just about feeling good. It's fundamental for your cognitive health, your physical well-being, your overall quality of life.
Couldn't agree more. It's about thriving as we age, not just surviving.
Exactly. And you don't need to make drastic changes all at once. Even small, consistent changes can make a big difference over time.
So be patient with yourself and find what works best for you.
Exactly. It's a journey, not a race.
We encourage you to think about which of these tips resonate most with your experiences and start incorporating them into your routine.
And if you're still struggling with sleep, please don't hesitate to reach out to a healthcare professional. They can help you figure out what's going on and provide personalized guidance.
They can help rule out any underlying medical conditions and point you in the right direction for treatment, whether it's lifestyle changes or something like CBTI.
Exactly. You don't have to go through this alone.
Okay, there you have it. Hope you enjoyed this deep dive into sleep and aging.
It's been a pleasure chatting with you.
Stay tuned for our upcoming episodes. We'll be back with more insights on how to age stronger. Bye for now.
Bye.